Well, hello there, and welcome back to my channel. Today, we are making chainmail. No, not chain letters or chain mail through the post office, but chain mail. That's right, or more appropriately, history was known as just mail. They didn't say chain mail, leather mail, it was mail, as in ring, armor. It was just a thing that they called it. So don't blame me, blame history for that, okay? For the confusion in chain letters and all that. That's right, today we are making chainmail. I will show you how I make chainmail. I mean, for those of you who follow my channel for a while, you know that I have been drawing chainmail on my characters and my speed drawings for pretty much since the very beginning. But today I will be showing you how to make real metal chainmail. This beast is called I consider it a brigandine. It's kind of a vest made out of chainmail. Typically they don't have any sleeves. This is a brigandine that I made out of chainmail using 3/8 washers that I got at Tractor Supply. You know, it weighs about 35 to 40 pounds. It uses 3/8 washers and they're 1/4 inch 5/8 rings, which I'll be using today in my video, but I'll be using aluminum, not steel. But you know, for practices of demonstration, that's okay. It doesn't have to be, you know, steel for the demonstration, so it'll work just fine. Now, I wouldn't recommend using aluminum for your armor unless it's for cosplay or something light, because if you're making them for battle ready armor, you know, it won't last long at all. I mean, you know, they'll fly apart. You know, chainmail sometimes flies apart anyway. You have to repair it, but aluminum just won't last. But like I said, for today's video, it'll work just fine. So let's get on to making this video, shall we? Now, I have to be honest with you. Steel mail is really heavy metal, but it's really cool and your friends are going to love it. My brigandine, like I said, weighs about 35 pounds or so, and I would not advise you go trekking around in it at a medieval fair or a LARPing event, at least not without a proper layer between you and the steel rings, as it can dig right in that collarbone. It did for me when I went to the fair wearing it just a few years ago. So at least wear a tunic or a gambeson for your protection and ultimate comfort. Okay, so as you can see, I am making rings by making coils or a spring-like column of metal wire. Like I said, these are aluminum rings, although I typically use steel. I make coils that are about 18 inches long, and then I use my wire cutters to pop the rings and make them into jump rings that I will use to make our mail. I'm using 5/8 rings today because I want to use a larger ring than I would for most of my pieces, like a coif or coif, which is a headpiece, or the halberd, that's the flexible mail shirt. I'm using larger rings than I would so that it's easier for you to see what I'm doing. I do prefer 3/8 size when making my mail. It just seems the right size for me. Disclaimer here, I'm using what they call butt rings, since they are not riveted and should not be used for actual protective purposes. For that, you should look into rivets, but we're not doing that today. Those will make it to where your halberd or coif or whatever you make will not break or lose its rings, at least not without excessive force. So you'll see that I have made my rings and am now working on a box chain design. This design is very common and can be used to make anything from necklaces to bracelets to a chain for anything, really. And you can make it for just a few inches like this one here, or several inches, to several feet rather, really, however long you want to make it, as long as your jump rings and patience don't run out. I usually turn on a movie that I like or music, and I just start. It's kind of relaxing after you get used to it, after you get used to the pattern you're making. There are all kinds of patterns to make with chainmail, and there's all kinds of mail from all over history, from Japan to English to French to Byzantine to, well, you name it. Every culture seems to have adopted a style to their own flexible metal armor, and so go find what fits for you. This next example is called 4-in-1, and it was common weave in medieval mail. It's called 4-in-1 because it starts out with one ring, then you join 4 rings, and then every ring has 4 points of contact to another ring. It's a very popular weave and can be used in all kinds of mail, from historical pieces to museums to movies like Gladiator or Braveheart. I also have here some 6-in-1. Really, it's 6 rings joined to every 1 ring. It offers a much tighter weave, and personally I prefer it to 4-in-1. But it is quite a bit heavier, but it looks so much more, what's the word? Protective? But I do use quite a bit of the 4-in-1 because it looks pretty sharp, and the 6-in-1 doesn't always work for the smaller, thicker rings. Now, I'd like to ask you now, if you've done any chainmail, please share it with me. I'd love to see it. No, really, I think it's pretty cool. Well, it looks like we've come to the end of another video here. And, well, today I have shown you how I make chainmail for whenever I want to go out to the Ren Fair or cosplay or LARP event. And I hope you found this video somewhat useful. If not, I hope you've at least been entertained. I'm going to go take this brigandine off now, since we've come to the end of yet another video here on our channel. And as always, I'm your artist Logan. I'm kind of sketchy, and I'll catch you later.